everybody. I am back. I know this is not our usual time, but I did want to spend some more quality time with my mom yesterday. So I got a little selfish on you guys. Okay. So I really wanted to spend time with her because she's actually right now on a flight back to Miami. So at the same time, I was kind of I really wanted to spend time with her, even though I know I'm going to see her a lot more in the future. So sorry about that. I know that is 2 Fridays in a row. I know that's very unusual for me, but hey, I'm making up for it tonight. And next week, I am going to be back on every Friday, 8 o'clock, hanging out with you guys. Because I will say, even though I enjoyed the time with my mom, I did miss you guys a lot and stuff. So I really am grateful that, you guys are understanding about that. So anyway, so a little bit of announcements that we got going on. Okay. So you guys know we have the Christmas in July gift exchange. For those of you guys that are participating in it, do know that all the gifts has to be mailed out by the 27th of this month. I myself have not even gotten started because I have been spending so much time with my mom. So this weekend and all next week, I am going to be creating my gifts, and I'll be making sure that I mail it out by the 27th. Okay. I know some folks have reached out to me and they thought that they were automatically registered. Just know that every time I do these gift exchanges, you have to re-register in the gift exchange if you want to participate in that new one. Okay. So we have 30 people that have participated. I'm pretty super excited about it. So like I said, 27th of this month, all the gifts should be mailed out. And then we're going to do, let me look at the thing. I know that in July is when we're going to do the show and tell. And I believe it's going to be either the 2nd or the 3rd Friday of July. I'll let you guys definitely know on our Facebook gift exchange. Okay. So you guys know I was going to bring you a topic. So this is the topic for today. Things that I wish I knew when I first started embroidering. I thought this topic would be really, really good, especially for those that are really new or just jumping into the bandwagon. And I thought maybe those of you guys that are watching or in the chat, if you think of something that you wish you kind of knew, please pop it in the chat so that the folks can just get an idea of what to expect as they get into this embroidery journey, especially the new folks and even folks that have been doing embroidery for quite some time. Sometimes, you think you have been through it all and something, before you know it, you're talking with someone else. And before you know it, it's like you kind of learned something new. Okay. So I got 6 things. Okay. So I'll kind of try to run them down kind of quick and then we can just hang out for a little bit. The first thing, okay, the cost, all right? As you guys all know that have been doing embroidery, you know that it is not light on your pocketbook at all, okay? A lot of times people have the perception, especially folks that are new to this, that it's just that once you get your machine, you're golden. But the thing is, the machine is really a fraction of the cost when you're doing embroidery, okay? And I really kind of wish that I kind of knew that from the beginning. I don't know if that would have deterred me from going down this journey because I really do love embroidering, but it probably would have made me a little bit more prepared. And I will tell you guys, selling embroidery kind of helps me offset the cost. Okay, so it's kind of like, when you see a set of embroidery thread, you want to splurge on it. I'll go ahead and I'll splurge on it. But I know that as I'm making sales in embroidery, I kind of will get myself that money back. So in a way, running an embroidery business kind of helps me to feed the appetite that I have for embroidery, right? Because if I was not selling, then I got a feeling that what would happen is I would just be spending and giving it all away. And, it could get kind of costly. Okay. First, the machine, but, the machine is really usually the high price of embroidery. But then what ends up happening as that time goes on, you start to realize that you're starting to buy a lot of designs, right? And even though at the moment you're buying these designs and you're only paying maybe $1, $2, maybe 5, 6, 7, whatever, right? It's kind of a lot of embroidery designs you actually buy, they're like less than $10, right? So you start thinking to yourself, oh, that's not much. It's okay, right? Well, what ends up happening is every time you buy a design, you're increasing your library, but at the same time, you are spending money. So a lot of people don't realize, but after a year of embroidery, you have actually purchased quite a lot of designs and fonts and threads and stuff. And before you know it, you have quite a collection that's worth a lot of money. So, that is something that really creeps up. Okay. I always say the two highest costs for me, well, in my experience, was the actual purchase of the machines, which I kind of knew up front, but no one ever told me that buying the designs were going to start creeping up as well. So, because you can't just buy one design, even though sometimes you can get a machine, the machine has some designs loaded on it. But let's be real, okay? After you start doing all those designs on the machines and you start going to these websites and you see these gorgeous designs out there, you're going to want to buy them, right? And when you start buying them, what ends up happening is you increase your library and you increase your cost, okay? So cost of embroidery can get kind of pricey, and the cost of embroidery can grow in certain areas where you kind of least expect it. Like for me, in purchasing designs, right? Because especially if you're running a business, you want a variety. You want a variety of fonts. You want a variety of different designs for different occasions and stuff. And even when you're gifting a gift, right? Let's say that it's someone's baptism, right? So you're going to probably purchase a cross, or you're going to purchase, a nice baptism symbol, right? The dove or something like that. Somebody's birthday, you're going to look for birthday designs. If somebody's graduation, you're going to look for graduation designs. A dinner table, you're going to look for nice monogram designs. So, there's just so many different designs out there, and you really don't realize the cost that it's going to start to creep up. Because if you were to really seriously keep all your receipts of your designs and start adding up all the money that you spent, you're going to bite your tongue. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is, or you bite your lip or whatever people say. You're going to be like, this costs a lot of money, So cost, big thing, really truly is a big thing. Something that a lot of people really don't understand. They really think that it's just minimal cost, but it's not. It really is a big one. Okay. The other thing is the time that's required in embroidery. Okay. A lot of times people, like you guys that watched me for a long time, know that I say this all the time. Now, people that don't know about embroidery always think, let's push that button and keep it going. There's a lot of things that are involved in embroidery. I'll give you an example. Today, I had someone purchase a baby blanket from me, and it was a baby blanket that I had done before. However, though, I switched from my iMac to my MacBook, right? So I actually unplugged my iMac and I put it in a closet. And then when I went to look for that design, well, guess what? It was stored on my iMac, and I did not store it in our server, because we have a server at home. And I thought I changed all my designs and put it on the server. So I had to actually go out and get the purchase from where I bought it from, re-download it again, had to modify the colors again, and all that kind of stuff. And my mom was watching me because she was here till 5 o'clock. Then I had to drive her over to Dallas Airport. And all morning I was playing around with the design, redesigning it and everything. And she was like, well, when are you going to embroider? When are you going to embroider? When are you going to embroider? I'm like, Mom, I'm not ready. I'm not there yet, because I had to actually redo the design, make sure that the size was right and everything like that, and then hoop the fabric, put it in and stuff. Very, very time consuming, which she was kind of shocked, because she was like, God, it took you about a good half hour just to get that design done. And yeah, it did. And then lo and behold, after I did all that, guess what? The file was on the server. I just named it in a different name, and that's why I couldn't find it. whole figure. Okay, so anyway, but it is time consuming. There's a lot of planning that's going in that gets involved, and there's a lot of things, different stabilizers, colors, threads, weights, needles, everything. A lot of people don't realize that. I know I didn't at the very beginning. I was one of those people thinking that you just upload the design and you press the button and you just change the thread, right? Because I started with the SC1900. It was a single needle machine. So I thought that was all to it. But then later on, I found out as I started to, here comes the supervisor here. As I started to, he laid down on the floor now. Okay, so let me scroll over here. Hey, hi, Mello. Hey, hi. Hi. There he goes with his little tail. All right, so anyway. So, what was I saying? I know I was talking about the designs and everything. Had a senior moment. Oh my God. Okay, I know I was talking about the design. All right, so anyway, I had to modify it and all that good stuff and everything, and I ended up finding it on the server. I just renamed the file a different name. I should have named it Baby Cow because it was Baby Cow, but instead I named it, the file name I gave was the name of a child, of Gregory. So I was like, really, how was I going to find out? So lesson learned. You got to be really careful when you're saving your files to reuse so that you can easily find them later on. Okay, so that was something that I learned today. All right, now pricing your items correctly is something that a lot of people really struggle on, big time. I always get that question, and I ain't gonna lie. I myself had to learn what was the best way to price my items. Okay, there's a lot of different ways. Some people do per 1,000 stitches. I don't do it per 1,000 stitches. I like to price my time, and that's how I charge. I do, it just really, I do sometimes change up my pricing structure a little bit, but it just depends on what it is that I'm doing and what people ask, right? So, you have to really come up with your own way on how you're going to price things. If you're in there for selling, if you want to do an embroidery business, because the last thing you want is you want to feel like you've been giving away your stuff for free. Some people, when they sell, they're not really out there for the profit, which I totally get. And hey, it's all depends on what it is that you want, right? Some people, what they want to do is they just want to recoup their costs, right? Because they love to do embroidery and they just want orders, so it gives them something to do, and at the same time they get to recoup the cost of things that they are using, right? Buying the thread, the stabilizer, and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes they that's how their pricing structure works. So that's why I kind of tell people it really depends on what it is that you're doing and what your goal is at the end of the day. If it's just recouping your costs, most likely your pricing are probably going to be a little bit less than someone who is really running an actual embroidery business, because they have a lot of overhead that they have to account for and stuff like that. So you gotta, you just gotta really understand, what you're selling and how much you want to sell it for, and really how much at the end of the day do you want in your pocket, So pricing is something that, I wish someone had taught me from the very beginning. I actually had to learn through trial and error with that. There have been times when I priced way too low, and then I said, ooh, I kind of gave that away for free. And I did try the per stitches method, but I found that sometimes it can be a little bit frickety, right? Because sometimes if you have a really nice design and it's 30,000 stitches, and if you do, like, let's say $1 per stitch, it's $30 right there, right? But the thing is, it's like, sometimes it depends on how the design stitches. Sometimes 30,000 stitches doesn't take a half hour, sometimes you can just do that in 15 minutes or 20 minutes and stuff. So sometimes it can be a simple design. So you really have to kind of look at it. And I kind of tell people, just feel it out. You'll eventually figure out where your comfort zone is and where it is that you want to land. I always tell people there's really, honestly, there is no right or wrong. Okay. But if you are running an embroidery business and you start to price items, you have to think to yourself, it's about making money, right? And in that situation, my philosophy of there is no right or wrong kind of changes, because the thing is, if you're pricing items and you're always losing money, then you're really not running a business. You're never going to make any money. So you have to kind of like, play with it and stuff like that. It is really, to me, the most difficult part of embroidery, the pricing, because everyone has a different style of and way of that they price their items. And then people are in different locations, right? And different locations have a different cost of living, right? So if you look at, let's say, example, federal government, right? If you look at salaries for federal government employees, there's certain sections in the U.S. that their salaries are not the same. You're going to notice that. Someone in New York and California, Washington, D.C. may make a lot more money than someone that works in Ohio, right? If you look at the grade structure. And it's really all because of cost of living. And pricing structure is really kind of like that, right? So I can probably take an item and sell it for $60 in Washington, D.C. and do very well with it, and then take that same item with the same price, maybe go to West Virginia or another state that's lower cost of living, like Ohio, maybe Tennessee, something like that. And I probably won't sell as much, because the thing is, the cost of living is a lot lower. So it really depends also on location. A lot of times people don't understand that. They kind of like, when they're asking people like, how much should you charge? Sometimes you could be asking someone that lives in a state that the cost of living is high, and you live in a state that the cost of living is low. So their opinion of what a price should be on a particular item may not be the price that maybe you should charge because of the situation, right? So just something to think about and stuff. The other thing, okay, and I noticed that a lot of people realizes this very quickly when they are starting to learn how to embroider, is the space. A lot of times, I will tell you this, never in the million years, and I don't think if anybody had ever come to me and said, hey, you know what, you're going to take up 2 bedrooms in your house to do embroidery and sewing, I would have laughed at you and said, no, I'm not, And guess what? I am, okay? 2 bedrooms upstairs in my home are dedicated to embroidery and sewing, okay? I mean, it's like, wow, I never would have thought that, all right? This room is mostly embroidery. And as you can see, it is from the door all the way to here, all embroidery, okay? Sewing room, I don't know who was it that when I was trying to solve the problem, the other bedroom was was an extra guest room. And I had a full-size bed in it, and I built another bedroom in our basement, and the full-size bed went down to the basement. Someone suggested to me to get a wall bed. Whoever did that, thank you. Perfect solution. Loved it. Okay. I had it built. My mom was the one that test drove it on her visit here. Okay. And it works perfect. It looks like a cabinet. And you know what? As a matter of fact, let me go over there and show you guys so that you guys can see what it looks like, in case you guys don't know what a wall bed is. So let's just take a little walk over to my sewing room, okay? That way I can show you guys, okay? And let me turn on the light so that we have some see. So let's go down here. So this is, guys, you see that cabinet right there? That is actually a wall bed. And what you do is you just pull it down, okay? it's wall bed or Murphy bed and stuff, and you actually take it down, and then it's a twin size bed. Now they can actually make this in different size beds. You can do a twin, you could do a full size, you could do a king or queen, but I really got this for my mom. And let me put you guys down here, and maybe I can show you guys a little bit more of what it is. Okay, so let me show you guys also. I'm going to move this around so that you guys can see how this actually works. I can show this to you guys, okay? So that way you guys can see, because I never saw this until somebody in our chat actually came out and said, get a wall bed, okay? I know I'm a little bit off topic, guys, but hey, we always hang out, all right? So I'm cool. All right, so let me move these tables out of the way. Okay, so as you can see, it looks like a huge cabinet, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this, and it just comes out like that, and then I'm going to pull it all the way down. And then it has feet. I don't know if you notice right here. These are the little feet. Bang. All right. It's a bed. And this is a regular size twin bed. Got it from Mattress Warehouse. You can get whatever type. 10-inch. You can get it 12-inch, whatever inch you want. You just got to let the builder know. And, then you just take this out. You put the bed sheets on it and everything. It's a full-size bed. Sometimes people, what they do is in this little area right here, they'll put like a little picture on there. But, yeah, and then when my mom left, right, and then I went ahead and then I hit like, is you just go like that, and you just push it up. There you go. And push it in. Done. Isn't that cool? So I don't remember who was the one that recommended this, okay? Thank you. I mean, this was perfect. I asked my mom, did you like it? Did you sleep in it okay? She said, yeah, she did. And it went pretty good. Hold on. All right, so, sorry, I had to go grab something out of Mello's mouth. So, this is, look at him. He's always all over the place. So, this is actually my sewing room. And as you can see, it's less crowded. Okay, so I have my little Juki machine down here with some of my sewing. I have all my printers here. There goes Mello. And then right here, I have my wall bed. And because it's against the wall, it looks like a cabinet, I get to go to put a table there, and I got my little rocking chair. Love my rocking chair. I like to sit there and sometimes watch movies and just relax a little bit. So, yeah. So, going back to, well, I guess I thought I was getting off topic, but I really wasn't. But anyway, space. Okay. You really gonna have to, as time goes on, right? What's gonna happen is you really are gonna run out of space. I'm gonna tell you something. I went to Susie's quilt shop last week. I went with my mom, and guess what she had on the floor? She had the Avenir. And I was like, and her son was embroidering on the Avenir. And I was like, oh my God, I want that machine. So I know I said I would probably treat myself to it, but I'm not going to do it because my goal is to get to Texas and take classes on how to fix embroidery machines. That 3-day workshop, I want to do it. So I'm saving all my money so that I can go there and take the class. So I'm really like saving as much as I can. So that's my goal. After that, later on, I told myself 5 years retirement. Maybe I'll treat myself to the machine. 5 years retirement. By then, probably there'll be something else, but I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, I'm glad, I wanted to show you guys this Murphy bed because when you get into embroidery, you're going to have so much stress, so much stabilizer, so many fabrics. The machine itself, machines are big, okay? Even though if you have the SC1900, it's not that big, but if you end up going and you're getting a multi-needle machine, as you can see, they are kind of huge and they do require a lot of space because they come with a stand and all that kind of stuff and everything. 6-needle machines, same thing. They do require the space, okay? And if you end up getting one of those bigger embroidery machines, you just got to make sure you have a good desk, a good sized desk, so that you can place it on there and stuff. So you got to get smart with the space, right? So some people are very fortunate where they can have a huge big room dedicated to nothing but their sewing and embroidery. I'm pretty fortunate and I'm very grateful that my family, because this is my home, right? So I can't come out and say this is my house and my house only. It's not. I have a husband, I have a son, and the sewing room used to be my son's. And I was, and you have to compromise, right? So he was pretty ecstatic about living in the basement because he feels like he has his own little apartment down there. And you know how it is. They get older. They really don't want to hang with you, right? Because you're not cool. So he feels like he's on his own down there. He has his little space. And my husband was fine with it. So I was okay to take up the 2 spaces. The only issue that I had when I took up the second one was I was like, okay, I really want family to be able to visit me, right? Especially my mom, because I'm very close to my mom and my cousin. And, last year, my sister got to visit me. And, I want to at least have, I never have like a whole lot of family come visit me, but I usually have 1 or 2 guests, right? So I wanted to make sure that I had a comfortable space, especially for my mom, because my mom is 85. And, as they get older, it's important, you got to take care of mom because, mom raised you, right? And it's respect. So that was important to me. So when I knew that I finally ordered the Murphy bed and the Murphy bed was getting installed and we got the good mattress and all that kind of stuff, then that's when I went and said, okay, now I can drive down to Florida and I can hang out with mom. And we stopped at Orlando and then we came home. And then when I got here with my mom, I was able to, she had her space. I was able to roll out a lot of the stuff that was in there. So that way the room felt more like her space. And she had a nice, comfortable bed. And when I asked her about it, she said she seemed to like it. She said the mattress was pretty comfortable and she really liked the bed. And she was pretty intrigued by it because she was like, a wall bed? What's a wall bed? And when I opened it, when we got there and she saw the cabinet and then she saw how I pulled it down, she was kind of like, oh, that's pretty cool, So it was a great solution. It really, truly is. So, you're going to have to really look at your space and really see how you can best maximize it. Sometimes you try to use what you got, right? Sometimes, like right now, I've got the furniture that my son had in his room previously, didn't want it anymore. This is really like the IKEA furniture. Like you see this desk over here. You see the little corner over there. I have the little, thing. I don't know if you see it. It's in black, but it's like a little hutch and stuff. It works. It works. I would love to be able to have matching furniture, really pretty matching furniture. But I'm okay with it. You know what? It works in the space that I have right now. If I see other stuff that probably would help a little bit better, then yeah, I'll do that as well, So I have been looking to see how I can better organize the sewing room and even this room as well. Like maybe I could get better furniture or something like that. But it's not a big deal. I can work with what I have, but little by little, I'm sure my space will improve a lot more and stuff like that. So, and the thing is also, something that came to my mind, guys, was that I was thinking, what, sometimes you don't want bigger space. You know why? Because what can happen is you can end up buying more stuff, right? So it's like I I kind of look at that corner that I have over there behind the embroidery machine. I already have a lot of fabric. All right. And as you can see, I have some fabric right here that I already laid out for on my heat press. And that's because I want to make stuff with that fabric. Before I go out there to Hobby Lobby and all these other stores and stuff and start buying fabric, I better start using what I have in stock. Because some of this fabric, I will say, I was going to Joann's and going to all these shops and I was going through them and I would go, oh, this is cute. This is cute. This is nice. I like this. I like that. And then I was like, give me a yard here, yard here, yard here, yard here. No clue what was I going to make with it. All I knew was that I liked the fabric. I liked the way it felt. I liked the way it looked. I liked the colors and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, really? So now what ends up happening is I got a bunch of fabric and that's all I got, right? So no intention of doing anything with it. So I kind of told myself, that's it. We're not getting any more fabric. I have to make do with the space that I have. I have to utilize the items that I have, the supplies that I have, okay? I'm not going to overbuy because then that's what ends up happening is you buy more stuff and then you buy more stuff and more stuff. And the space that you had now becomes more cluttery. And I don't like clutter. I like my space to be very organized and neat. So I've already told myself this year, I'm going to really minimize my purchases of fabric, which so far I have done pretty good. I have not really bought anything. Well, no. Okay. Okay. I forgot about something I just remembered. Okay. When Joann's was closing, I did buy. Okay. So, because they were closing. So, I wanted to take advantage of those sales, but I plan on using the fabrics that I have. I plan on making stuff. And one of the things that I told myself is even though I'm doing a lot of embroidery, what I want to do now is I want to incorporate things that I sew into my Etsy shop as well. I don't just want to sell embroidery. I want to add more to it and stuff like that. So, that's what, I've been doing. Okay. So the last thing that I have about, things that I wish someone had told me was the outsourcing. Okay. You don't have to make everything yourself. And what I mean by that is that sometimes what people do is they'll want to sell stuff and they'll say, well, I got to sew the tote bag and then I have to embroider it. That's not true. You could buy the blanks of tote bags and embroider it. Sometimes you don't have to do everything yourself. Don't be afraid to outsource. Even the embroidery itself. If you get somebody that comes to you and says, I need 100 patches, and you're already flooded with orders, right? You can go to another embroidery shop and say, how much would you charge for 100 patches? And then if they do a good job, then order the 100 patches from them and you're like the middle person. And then you just resell it to the customer as your own, even though you didn't do the patches, but you don't have to make everything yourself, right? You can think about it. There's nothing wrong with being a middleman. There really isn't. I have business relationships with a lot of people that actually are the middleman. I'm the embroiderer and they're the middleman. I'll give you an example of that. There's a gentleman that I work with, and he has an award company, right? They sell awards and stuff like that. And one of the services that he tells people that he offers is embroidery. Now, this man doesn't even own a sewing machine, okay? Does not even know anything about thread, nada, nothing. But he says that he does offer embroidery services. So usually what happens is customers will come to him and say, hey, this is my company logo and I need these on shirts. So he'll look at it and then he'll say, okay, give me a week. I'll get back to you. So you know what he does? He calls Jeanette up and he says, hey, can I stop over? I got a project. And I'm like, okay. He comes over. He shows me the logo, shows me the type of jacket that he wants, and then he tells me, okay, can you give me a price on it? And then I go, all right, give me 2 days. So during that time, what I do is I will go ahead and I will get with a digitizer, see how much the digitizing is going to cost, see how many stitches it is. That usually will tell me how long it's going to take to run on the machine. And then I run my numbers and stuff like that. And then I'll come out and say, okay, this is how much it's going to cost. Then he'll go to his customer and he'll say, okay, this is how much it's going to cost. This is how, this is going to be the turnaround time. The customer has no idea that this gentleman doesn't even own a sewing machine. All they know is that they're going to get a product of what they want. Then they bring him all the shirts, and he brings it all, and then the middle person, we'll call him Mr. A. Mr. A goes and he brings me all the stuff, and then I do all the work. I get my money, and then he takes the product and then he sells it to the customer. Now, how much he sells that stuff to the customer, I don't care. It ain't my business. All I know is I got my job. Now, I love doing that type of embroidery for the simple fact that I'm not out there chasing customers. He's the one that's bringing the customers to me. So that his time and effort has to be worth something, right? So, I mean, to me, it's easy money because it's somebody that's going out there, getting the jobs and bringing them to me. All I have to do is process them, bill him, and then he takes care of the rest. He's the one that interacts with the customer all the time, not me. You know what I'm saying? So, you have to know like when to outsource. So if you're ever in a situation where you have somebody that comes out and says, oh my God, I need 200 patches or 300 patches and stuff like that. Find companies that do that type of value and then outsource it. I mean, you're going to be outsourcing digitizing. Unless you know digitizing, you're going to be outsourcing your digitizing. It's no different. It is no different. So you go and you get the product and everything, then you just tack on your little percentage, your little commission of like finder's fee or whatever, and then you sell it to the customer. So you got to know when you're going to outsource and stuff. A lot of times what happens is people, they think they have to do everything on their own. They think that they need to know how to digitize, that they got to create everything. You really don't. You don't. There's a way to do things. So, that is one thing that I really wish. And then there are certain supplies. Let me also tell you, like, for instance, thermal printers. I don't know if you guys know what a thermal printer is. Let me plug this one and I'll show you what it looks like. This is definitely a must. This is a thermal printer, okay? And I use this one, which is Rollo, and I have a wired one. They do have other brands, right? And they also have some that are wireless. I've always used the wired one because I kind of like that direct connection, but I've seen the wireless ones. I kind of figure I'll try a wireless one when this baby breaks down, but I have had this baby now going on 6 years and it works great. Haven't had an issue with it at all. I printed out a lot of my labels. I even do, I'll show you these. Hold on. You can actually buy different labels like this and use a thermal printer to print them out. These are some that I create that I put on my packaging. Okay. It just says custom made just for you. I do that. The only thing with the thermal printers is that they're not in color. Okay. They just come in one color, which is black, because they work on heat. Now, thermal printers to me were something that I really wish someone from the beginning had told me about it, because I used to use an inkjet printer to print out labels and all that stuff. Though doing it that way costs you a lot of money because you're going to run out of black ink all the time. And with this, there is no ink involved because it's heat. So you got to get this. I highly recommend. Anyone that says, hey, I have to print out shipping labels and stuff like that, I'm like, don't even bother with the regular printer because that's going to cost you a lot of money. The other thing that I wish someone had told me about is, why are you standing in line at the post office? Okay. Buy buy your shipping labels. Okay. When I first started, it was kind of funny because you don't know. You learn all this stuff, right? So I was just getting a order. I was using my inkjet printer. I was, print well when I first I was getting the order. Before I even knew about buying the labels, okay? I was making the order, packaging it up, and I was standing in line at the post office and I was paying retail price for my labels, okay? And I was paying like $6 and something to mail out a kitchen towel. Now I'm only paying like $4.50 or something like that, depending on how far it goes. And I buy the pre-labels, off of Etsy and stuff. And then some, and there's other sites that you can buy your labels from, which is like Pirate Ship. You could use that. And so some people prefer to use that because what they like to do is they like to use their credit card because they get cash back for that. But the thing is, you got to make sure that when you do that, that when you go back into Etsy, you write the shipping tracking label correctly in Etsy so that you can let the customer know what their tracking number is for their package. A lot of times what can happen is you can make a lot of errors when you do that. So, I mean, to me, I have orders and sometimes I have moments where I only get 1 or 2 orders, but then I have moments where I'll get 5 or 6 orders at a time. And I don't want mistakes happening. So I usually just buy my labels right off of Etsy. So that way the tracking number is right there and there was no fat fingering or anything like that, no human error and stuff. So yeah, so there was a lot of things that I really wish I knew, about the thermal printer, about buying your labels instead of standing on that post office line, especially during the holidays, those lines used to get long. Packaging, learning how to package my stuff, buying in bulk when needed. Okay. Don't, especially when you're buying bags and all that kind of stuff, buy those things in bulk. Don't just buy like, 5 or 6 of them and stuff like that. Buy them in bulk because you save money that way. Your blanks, buy them in bulk as well. If I don't know if you do children's shirts or baby stuff or baby blankets or whatever, buy in bulk. It really truly is. If you can, I really recommend people get their blanks from overseas. You would be surprised at the cost savings you can find. And if you think these companies that you're buying from are not purchasing their stuff from overseas, you're wrong. That's really where a lot of the items are coming from. Okay, so sometimes the middleman can get a little costly. All right, so try to cut out the middleman whenever you can. But if you need the middleman, use them. Because if you just need one shirt or one blanket because you're really not selling and stuff like that, you're just gifting it, then that's when I say, hey, that's where you go to the middleman. Because why? You don't need 50, you don't need 100. But if you're in the business to sell, you're going to need 50, you're going to need 100, and you can buy in small quantities. A lot of times people think, oh, you got to buy 1,000 or 2,000. That's not true. I have bought those heirloom baby blankets and I get them for 50 at a time. And sometimes if I'm really running low or whatever and I know I have the space in the basement, I'll buy 100 blankets. And then I just keep inventory of the colors and stuff. And when I see I start running short, then I go ahead and I add, I go and I place another order. The only downside about ordering overseas is really the time. Okay, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 months to get your products. And now there's a lot of talk with the tariffs and all that kind of stuff. Or I don't know if I said it right, tariffs or tariffs, I don't know, or whatever. There's a lot of talk. Things might go up and down. I don't know. But, just to me, just stock it up whenever you can and stuff like that, So let me run down the 6 things again that we talked about. We talked about the cost. We talked about the time. I did just talk about supplies, pricing your items, your space, and the outsourcing. Those are the 6. So, yeah. So I really wish I had someone like a mentor or somebody that was able to sit me down when I first started to at least tell me about those 6 things and say, hey, just a piece of advice. These are things that you would want to think about while you're going into this journey and stuff like that. And there's going to be a lot of things. You learn a lot of things and stuff. You just have to, you experiment. And sometimes too, what happens with one person doesn't really happen with the other. So it's just, um, it's just something that you just share, and stuff and learn. So let me go down and say hi, you guys. I know we don't usually have our usual group because it's a new time and stuff. And, so I just wanted to say hi. Hey, Jackie, how you doing? Hope everything is good. I see Jenny. How are you? I see Robin and Debbie. How you doing? The best reason for postponement, spending time with my mom. I know. And I really enjoy having her. I do though think that the last couple of days my mom was a little bored. And I got it, I was bored when I visited her. I went to her house. At first, it's exciting. You have a lot to talk about and everything. Then it starts to die down. And then I was kind of like, gee, it's kind of quiet in this house, And Florida is really not a state that I kind of like because the heat is so strong there. And then, just to give you guys a little idea of what we had going on. So I said, hey, let's make our trip to Virginia, and why don't we stop at Orlando, because she has her brother there that's 95 years old, or is he 96? I think he's 95, 96. I know it's one of those. I think he turns 97 this year. No, man, I forgot. Okay, I think he's 90. No, I think he's 95. He turns 96 this year. So I took my mom to go see my her brother, my uncle, and that was really, really nice because, and I didn't want to rush that visit because she's 85, he's 95, and she had not seen him since the pandemic hit because, it just got, really hard. My sister is really, really busy. She's got, the morning show. She still works full time. She has a lot of activities with her son. So it is difficult for Nancy to do certain things with mom. She does spend every Sunday with her, but to make trips like that, really, really difficult. And now because I was retired, I knew I could step in and I can help. And when I went there and I saw her, and then we started to get bored around the house, I came out and I said, okay, Mom, let's go visit Tio Genaro. And I called my cousin. We, she said it was fun. I asked her if I could spend the night because I didn't want to do one of those drive-bys like, hey, Mom, look at your brother. Oh, let's wave. Okay, let's get in the car. Let's keep going. I didn't want to do that. I wanted them to really be able to share a meal together, spend some quality time together, talk and stuff like that. So when we got to my cousin's, it was about like 3:00 in the afternoon. So she had the whole afternoon. We had dinner together. And then they had the whole evening. And then we got up in the morning. And then my mom was able to have breakfast with her brother and stuff. And we kind of left a little bit late. We kind of left her Orlando around like 1:00. And then I got to Virginia at exactly like midnight. So it was a long drive, but it was okay. We finally made it here. And then my mom stayed here for about, it was like a week and a half. And I think it was a little kind of too long because after a while, even though I took her to the mall and we did go out to eat and we went out for ice cream, we took Bello for a walk. We sewed my curtains for my sewing room together. We bought fabric. We hung out in the backyard. My mom did a lot of cooking for us. My husband cooked penin, which is pork shoulder. And, we had some really good time. But after a while, I could tell, she kind of wanted to go home. And I was kind of like, oh, I should have got her airline ticket a little earlier. But it's okay. So she is on a plane right now. She should be in the air right now. And she should be arriving around 10 o'clock in Miami, and Nancy will go get her and take her home. And she kept talking about, oh, I can't wait to go home because I'm sure I have to clean and all that kind of stuff. So because she's kind of like a neat freak like me. So yeah, so she is I really enjoyed the time with her. I really did enjoy it. And I plan on going again in probably another 2 months, maybe around September timeframe when it starts to cool down a little bit. And one of the things that I was telling her was that probably what we'll do in the future is I'll have her fly in, and then I'll drive her back home. And on the way back home, we can stop at her brother's house, and so she can spend more quality time with him, because you want that, you want them, see, it's their brother and sister, so yeah. But it was a wonderful time. I am telling you guys, if your parents are still alive, make the best of it, because I lost my dad 2 years ago. And when I lost him, I was still working. And one of the regrets that I had was that because I was working so much and putting in so many hours and stuff, having vacation time was very, very little. And I really wish I had more time with my dad. But now that I'm retired, I really want to make the most of it. I want to be able to call her more often. I want to be able to drive down there more often. Just when I was taking her to the airport, she was talking about, Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I was joking with her going, I don't know if I want to go down there. But of course, I am going to go there. There's absolutely no reason for me not to be there. So from now on, from Christmas, Thanksgiving, that's where I will be. Absolutely. Because, I don't want to miss anything. I think that's so super important and stuff. But yeah. So yeah, but Debbie, you are absolutely right. I mean, I enjoyed spending time with her, and I'm really glad that you guys understand that and stuff. Hey Becky, how are you? How you doing? Family first, no worries. Thank you, Jenny. Hey Sandy, how are you doing? She finished making mine today. Okay, so Debbie started working on her gift. I am going to start tomorrow. And I'm planning on I'm halfway done with mine, and I'm going to do sewing and embroidery. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Let's see. Hey, Becky. Becky's making hers tomorrow as well. Okay. Hey, Gail. How are you? Hey, Bernardino. Welcome back. Yes, enjoyed every moment with my mom. Hey, Leslie. How are you? How you doing in Texas? You listed. Okay, that's it. Yes. So July 18th is what we're going to do that on that live. That is when we're going to do the show and tell. Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate that. Hey, Kim, how are you? How you doing? Shout out to New Jersey. Let's see, everybody saying hi to everybody. I love that. I love our little community. Let's see. Hey, Cynthia, how you doing? How's everything? Pretty eyes. I was thinking about you when I was in Florida, but I was just not online. But I'm gonna keep going to Florida, so we gotta definitely hang out. Hey, Miss Miller, how are you doing? Hey, Marlene, how are you? Oh, exciting! I'm taking delivery of a PR 1055 this week. Congratulations! You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. I love mine. I love mine so much. I really do. And I was looking at the Avenir, Miss Miller, when I went to the sewing machine. I think I mentioned that to you guys earlier, but I was asking about the price of the Avenir. That Avenir is pretty expensive, like over $18,000. And the thing that went through my mind is, as beautiful as that machine is, I was kind of like, oh, 18,000. I'm like, shoot, for 18,000, I could buy myself another 10 needle machine. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to get an Avenir. I don't know. But oh my God, congratulations on your PN 1055. That is one purchase I don't regret. I don't. I don't regret the 6 needle either. Don't get me wrong. Because I kept my 6 needle because I still use it. I actually used it today to embroider dinner napkins. So, I mean, love the machines. Just love, love, love them. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna have fun when that arrives. Oh my God, you're gonna be in heaven. You really are. The supervisor. Lily's birthday is today. She's 6 years old. Oh, happy birthday, Lily. Happy birthday. Oh my goodness. Somebody's got to embroider something for your birthday. Especially with that PR 1055X. You're not, no excuses, Miss Miller. You ain't got no excuses. All right, so let's see. Oh, hey, Misty. How are you? Missed you last Friday. Time with Mom. Always a priority. Good visiting with her last Friday. Mom is adorable. Thank you. I really didn't know, because she can be a little camera shy and stuff, but I think she did really well last Friday. I really do. I learned from Jeanette to never give price in advance. Yeah, an estimate is okay. Depends on the design material, etc. Yes. Question, can you show it? Oh, yep, and I did. I showed you guys that Murphy bed. Yes. Cool. Want to see? I may want to get one for our guest rooms. I hope you guys liked it. It's like, oh my God. Let's see. I would make it a wall hanging for the inside over the bed when open. Something to make you smile when you open it. I plan on doing that, Debbie. I do. I was thinking about it, like putting like a sign, welcome guests. Please feel free. Please feel like you're at home. Something like that. Something warm. I was thinking of doing like vinyl or something like that on there. But it's like I just love. I'm very, very happy with the way that bed came out. Really, really happy with it. That's so cool. Oh, thanks, Jenny. Great idea. Learning how to repair and maintain machines costs. It is. It really is. And especially, Marlene, because I have so many machines, it's like, it's over $1,000 every year when I get all these machines serviced. So if when I looked online, I saw that the sewing class is like $3,000. I was like, okay, so I already spent over $1,000. So after like 2 years of me servicing my own machine, well worth the money. So I looked at it as it is a win. So I'm trying to save my pennies, because the thing is, when I go, I want to pay cash. I don't want any debt because I'm on a fixed income. So I can't be splurging like that, Hey, baby giant, how are you? How you doing? Hey, Miss Holland, how are you doing? Let's see, exactly what we need to use what we have. Exactly. We do. The fabric stash, a sign of potential. Debbie, you're saying a sign of potential. And I look at it as, oh God, you better use that. You better use it. But you're right. It's potential. It is. But I have to use my fabric. I don't want to buy any more fabric until I've actually used what I have in stock. Let's see. Hey, Rita, how are you? How you doing? Oh, I have way too much fabric, but I did not buy when Joanne was closing because the sale was not good at all. Rita, I will say this. I kind of agree with you, because when the Joanne by me was closing, I don't feel like the sale was that great, right? Because it was kind of like, 40% off, 30% off. And I'm thinking to myself, 40, 30% off. That's what you get off at Hobby Lobby, right? You get 30 or 40% off. So you kind of had to wait it out. But the problem with weighing it out, I found that when it got to that 80 and 90%, and I went into the store, you found nothing, because everybody just snagged everything. I think Nancy got better deals in the Joann's in Florida than I did here. And I even drove to the one in Fairfax, Virginia, and I went to the one in Warrenton, Virginia. And I really didn't get that much. Now, I bought, don't get me wrong, because I was kind of like, I don't know where the hell I'm going to get my fabric now. But That's okay. Now what I'm starting to do is I'm going to Susie's quilt shop that's in Manassas, and I'm going to be, selling, buying fabric from her and stuff. And also, now that I mentioned Susie's quilt shop, just so you guys know, I talked to Susie, who's the owner of the quilt shop in Manassas, Virginia. And one of the things that she would like me to do is to teach embroidery classes at her shop. So I am going to be meeting with her next week. I'm going to stop by and sit down and talk with her about certain topics that she wants for me to teach, and I will let you guys know. So if you guys are in the Manassas, Northern Virginia area, is in Manassas, Virginia, and I will let you know when the classes are going to take place in case you guys want to go over there and take a class that I teach. And so I am going to be physically teaching embroidery at her shop. So I just have to create like a list of topics that I want to teach and everything. She also is we're going to do an embroidery club where we're going to do projects as well and stuff like that. So just something that I wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to have going on as well. Because like I told you, I really, now that I'm retired, I have more time, and I really want to teach people not only through the channel, but in person as well. And also help people learn about projects and everything like that. It's kind of like giving back in a way. So, yes, I'm pretty excited about that. So I'll let you guys know when that's going to take place. Yes, I'm pretty excited about it. So, yeah. So let's see. Ronnie says I have to display it so I can see it. Have a moment, my fabric. I do the same thing. I do display all my fabrics, and I like to fold them neatly so that way I can see the color and the style, so that when I'm looking at projects, I can see what I have. But I will tell you, I have looked at some of that fabric that I brought, and I ain't gonna lie, some of the fabric I was like, why did I buy that? Why? What mood was I in that I bought that fabric? Because now I look at the fabric and I'm like, what am I going to do with this? So I got to figure something out, So yeah, I mean, there are some. So, hey, Jeanette Hugu, you had me confused. I had to check the calendar to make sure it was Saturday. Yeah, Iris, because I wanted to spend time with Mom. But I will be this Friday back on every Friday, 8:00. Okay. This is just a one-off. That's all it is. Because I just, I like to hang out with you guys. And I did miss you guys. I missed you guys a lot and stuff. And I always like to, talk with you guys and stuff and let you guys know what's going on and everything. So let's see. Going through here. Hey, Eartha, how you doing? Did your mom go home? She did. Iris, she is on a plane right now. She lands at around 10. Nancy will be picking her up. Yeah, I kind of already miss her a little bit. I gotta tell you, it's like, you want your alone time. So it's like, when I hang up, I'm going to be like, okay, I get to relax and I'll be watching my YouTube. But then sometimes it's like, I just was somebody to hang with, So it was like, it was nice to have her here because she was sitting downstairs and she would be knitting and she would let me do my thing. And then sometimes I would think it's time to go, hey, Ma, and I would ask her questions and she'd tell me stories about the family. They never end the same, but that's okay. I'm still confused sometimes, even with the names, it's like, like I had an uncle named Chanchi. Then I found out his name was Francisco. And then like her sister's name is Panchi. And then I find out her name is Francisca. Her real name is Francisca. And I'm like, then why do we call her Panchi? She goes, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, oh my God. And then it's like so funny because like, I remember my husband told me that his father's name, I think, was Irvin. His father passed a while, but people call him Bill. So for the longest, Fred thought his father's name was Bill, but it wasn't Bill. It was Irvin. So I don't know. It's like, I don't know what it was. I think back in the day, people just wanted to confuse their kids, So sometimes when my mom tells me stories, I don't even know who the hell she's talking about anymore. So I don't know. It's kind of funny. But anyway, I do miss her. I do miss her. And I am planning on visiting again, spending more time with her and everything, because she's a funny lady. She cracks me up with some of her stuff. Hey Pearl, how are you? How you doing? Hey Crafty Puerto Rican, how are you? We got to get together. I'm retired now. We can hang. We can hang. We got to get together. Robin, okay. What items seem to be popular these days? Well, I will tell you, Debbie, with me, let me tell you, I've been getting a lot of sales on baby blankets, embroidered baby blankets, especially the baptisms. Now, I'm wondering if maybe it's because there's a lot of baptisms during the summertime. So I'm thinking, I don't know, but I have been getting quite a bit of those. Dinner napkins, I've gotten quite a bit. But the dinner napkin orders that I have gotten are local because there's weddings. Okay, so people are getting married, so people are ordering, and they buy by bulk, right? So I've been getting the dinner napkins, but that's local. But if you're asking me about my Etsy shop, the big ticket items that have really been selling really has been the baby blankets for baptisms. Those have always been pretty good. So right now, what I was telling my mom today was I'm going to have to start looking at my Etsy shop and look at all the items that I have on there, get rid of listings that I see just aren't really selling at all. People just haven't taken to them, and start expanding on the items that have been selling. So for me, it has been the baby blankets, and today I got a low online. I actually got dinner napkin orders, which I finished today. Let me show you what they look like. I don't know if this person just needed two, or if they just so I did these today. Okay, really cute. I've actually done these for weddings as well, on white dinner napkins with white thread. People love these. Yeah, but dinner napkins, that kind of has been a hot seller for me and stuff. Hey Sandy, gotta have to go. Thanks for sharing ideas. Come back later, see the end. Oh, okay. Speaking of the heat, next week gonna get high. Yes. Well, I think we have a heat wave going through. So mom kind of left at a good time. Good time. She really did, because I was waiting. I was getting up early in the morning, like not midday, but a little bit before noon. Me and my mom will go walk Mellow, because you got to be careful if you have pets out there. If it is very, very hot out there, you don't want their paws to be walking on the pavement, because it's very, very hot. So I usually walk Mellow once the sun has gone down. And it's not dark, it's not super dark, but it has calmed down, it's cooled because of his paws and stuff like that. So yeah, but we do have a heat wave that's going through. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, there you go. And Bernino, yes, make sure you bring your dogs in if they are outside. Absolutely. One thing too is I don't know, me personally, Mellow's never outside alone. If he's out there, I'm out there, or Fred's out there with him. So the way we kind of look at it is, if we can't take that heat, I know for sure Mellow, with all the fur that he has, he can't take it either, which he's like right here, like so super relaxed right there. Yeah, we're talking about you, Mellow. That's right. Oh my goodness. So anyway, so that's usually how we do with him. And then now it's like Mellow loves to play with bubbles. So I bought, I got the bubble maker that Nancy got me. So I've been playing with the bubble maker, and he loves that. But like I said, if it gets too hot for us, it's too hot for him. And if I can't walk barefoot on that floor, I'm sure it's not going to let Mellow be walking on that floor either. So that's usually how we do, So anyway. Hey McFake, how are you? How you doing? Almost missed you. Oh. Oh my goodness. All right. Hey, Matt Designs, how are you? Hey, Pearl. We enjoy seeing, listening your mom. Thanks for sharing her on the live. Oh, thanks, Pearl. I appreciate that. I mean, my mom had fun with it too, and she loves her crochet. She just, and I could not learn with her. Could not learn with her at all. So I'm just gonna have to do like Nancy said. Nancy said, just buy the patterns and go with it, because she does it too fast. And she's right-handed, I'm left-handed. So I was trying and it just wasn't working. So I'm like, that's okay. Well, I'll figure it out and stuff. But she is so quick with the crocheting and stuff. Um, let's see. Hey, Lady Fair, how are you? Brother's coming out with a new sewing machines this fall. Ooh, why you tell me that? Okay, we're gonna have to keep an eye out. I think Lady Fair, every year they try to have something. I tell you. So now I'm gonna have to go check it out. Now I'm gonna be at their website trying to see what's coming. And you guys know the sewing and quilt show in Fredericksburg will be coming. I will be going. I love to go every year and stuff. And you know what? Perfect place to buy fabric. So I'm gonna be going there. And hopefully I've used up the fabric that I have here so that I can go buy more fabric there. So I'm definitely going to be going there. And I'll put some information about the sewing and quilt show on our Embroidery Happy Hour Adventures Facebook group too. Um, let's see. Oh, I saw that machine up in personal. Boy, that machine is so expensive. It is. It is. So what goodies did mom cook? Okay, well, let me tell you what mom made. Okay, um she made arroz con habichuela, which is rice and these pigeon peas. She also made yuca. Did she make? No, she made the nails. She made pite. My husband made penin. Then he made this rice with vegetables. It was all right. We love mom's cooking. Mom's rice and beans is all right. But the penin was very good. He did very, very good at that. And stuff. So, we had her cooking. Because I got a new stove and I was like, okay, so let's see if this stove is really, really good. And mom loved the stove because I got a brand new gas stove. I got a commercial gas range and stuff. So she loved it. So she was just like cooking away and everything. And she would cook breakfast and all that kind of stuff. So we had a lot of fun with her and stuff. If buying a new machine, check your credit card rewards. I use Amex because it's extended the warranty. Paid it at the end of the month. That is true. Yep, you can do that. Yep. Congratulations. I wish I lived closer, but I'm in Florida. I know, Marley. Your great instruction. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm a little nervous because I'm kind of like, oh boy, I'm going to be teaching live. But we're real people. Well, not that you guys aren't real people, but you know what I mean. They're physically there. But I'm really going to love that because while I'm teaching and if one of them makes a mistake, I get to help them fix it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty excited about it. So I think it's going to be so much fun. I'm pretty excited. Let me see. Fabric that doesn't excite is perfect for testing projects. That's true. That is true. My mom passed 2 years ago. I wish I spent more time with her. Iris, I tell you, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. That means your mom passed the same time my dad passed. I know the feeling. I know. And you miss them and then it's like, I feel like I kick myself. But the thing is, it's like, I'm like, Jeanette, you did what you could, I mean, I called every week and I talked to him all the time, but I miss him. And I really wish I would have just been able to sit next to him on the sofa and watch TV with him or something, That's why now I really want to spend time with my mom because she's here, she's present, and I can spend that time with her because once they're no longer with us, all you have are those memories. And, I want those memories and stuff. I was just looking at Smart Stitch embroidery machine. It looks like a Velcro, but cheaper. I think I've heard of it, but I haven't seen that one. Mother passed in December last year. Oh, I'm sorry, McFague. That's hard. I know. Who makes that? I do have a Melco maintenance tomorrow. Who makes I don't know who makes that. Okay. I'm pricing machine. My machine is on its last legs. Don't just price the machines too, Iris. Look at the functions too. That's one of the things that I tell people, because sometimes people say, well, this machine is cheaper than this machine. But at the same time, it's not just the money, it's what that machine does and the functions it provides, and stuff. Because to me, if I have a machine that runs super fast, but it doesn't scan, and I don't get like a visual and stuff, I don't care how fast you go. And this is the thing too, sometimes a lot of people focus a lot on the speed of a machine, but in actuality, if you really want good quality embroidery, there are times when you can go fast, but there are times you should slow down, because sometimes slowing down that machine really will give you a better quality of embroidery than if you were to go ahead and rush it. So you got to, just make sure you look at everything in all angles, and do the research for you, and make sure that way you get to pick what's right for you. I feel the same way. So much time passes and you don't realize it. Yep. What do you use to make patches? Dye's prices are so high. Oh, I use twill. That's what I do. I use twill. Dimes. I've seen there's a lot of what I would do, Lady Fair, is if you're asking about bulk patches, then what I would do is just do wholesale bulk patches. Just do a search on that, and you can find different companies. And this is the thing too, if you find more than one company and stuff that do it, ask them all for a quote. Quotes don't cost anything, right? And then you can go with whatever you feel is best and stuff. Oh, it's hard. Yeah, it is hard. Nice surprise to see you on a Saturday. Hey, Elma. I know. Hey, Angela Stitches. 103 is 100. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be really hot this week. Well, it's hot outside. Yeah. See, it makes me really mad too, because what goes through my mind is, I know some people, like, they'll come out, well, they say it's an animal, but I'm like, that's a life. It's a life. Okay. If you're not going to take care of the animal properly, don't have one. That's what I always say. You have no business having a pet if you're not going to give that pet 110% of yourself. Okay. I mean, it's like having a child to me. Mellow to me is like, it's like I said, if I can't walk barefoot out there and not feel pain, then Mellow will walk out there. But if I feel pain, I'm not putting my dog out there. No. Even with dog shoes, I'm not gonna. No, I don't want to do that. 610 here. Oh, Nancy, I started making booties for my dog. I actually have snow boots for Mellow, for when I walk him in the snow. He has snow boots that he wears. For walking in the heat, I've seen dogs with the shoes. She says it's very hot. I think we're in for a big summer. I'm telling you, we're in for this summer. Oh my goodness. The Tiersons moved in 72, didn't have a choice. Dad was transferred. My dad will be 88 this year. Mom passed on Valentine's Day 2009. I got my passion for sewing from her. We made a lot of maternity clothes for my firstborn. Oh, those must have been great memories. That really must have been great memory. Nancy used to make, my mom used to make clothes for me and my sister. She used to always dress us alike. And I used to wonder about that. I'm like, why does she have to wear the same thing I have on? But then I thought about it now that I buy fabric, and I'm like, because it was probably better, because it was just give me 5 yards of the fabric, and stuff. So weird stuff. So anyway, well, guys, thanks for hanging out with me tonight and stuff. I went through all the chats and everything. Like I said, sorry about yesterday, but hey, got to hang out with you guys tonight and next Friday, 8 o'clock standard Eastern time. For now on, moving forward, no plans on changing. So please don't get confused and think, oh, now she does Saturdays at 8 o'clock. No, I'm still doing Fridays, 8 o'clock. It's just that I missed you guys yesterday, and I always want to hang out with you guys, because I really, really do like, hanging out with you. So anyway, guys, hope you guys like the topic and stuff that I shared today. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up. New to my channel, please consider subscribing. I will see you guys next Friday. And also, please don't forget, for those of you guys that are participating in the gift exchange, the gifts go out on the 27th of this month. Okay, so please send those gifts out. I'm going to be working on mine this weekend. All right, so if you guys have any questions and stuff, please feel free to reach out. And like I said, thank you so much for all the support and all the, the hugs and stuff like that. Appreciate and love every single one of you guys. And I will see you guys next Friday. Okay, so I will talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend. Bye.